I am so delighted by what I just found in a pile of papers on my office floor. I have been meaning to clean and tidy my office for literally months. I keep getting started on it and then I walk out to put something away and just don't come back. But I finally found the thing that is helping me to focus for some reason. And I was going through this pile of papers and I didn't think it was this big of a problem, but it appears that many of these papers have been sitting around since 2022. So, yeah. But this is the first draft of the prose words of my picture book that was published a few years ago. It's not the first draft of the entire book because the original idea was that it would be a book that only had onomatopoeia words. And so it functions essentially like a wordless picture book except for the sound effects. That is what I made for my dummy. That's what I submitted to my agent. That is what she signed me with. That is what we sent on submission, was a book where the only words were onomatopoeia words. One of the imprints in our very first round of submissions was Viking Books for Young Readers, and they came back with what's called a revise and resubmit. And they asked that I add prose to the book. I was learning in this submission process that most publishers don't want to take a risk of publishing a wordless picture book from an unknown debut author illustrator. And despite the fact that I did have onomatopoeia words, because the illustrations were doing most of the storytelling, they considered it a wordless picture book. I was really excited by this opportunity to revise and resubmit. The Viking is a respected imprint, and I had had a really good critique with the art director, and I really wanted to work with her. And so I fully intended to just like sit down and really knock out this revision. But every time that I did, I hated it. It didn't work. It felt wrong because the pictures were already telling the story. And so just adding words that like told the story that was already being told, it was clunky, it was bad, it didn't work. So I told that to my agent. I said, it's not working. I don't like what's going on. And she said, that's fine. We'll just keep submitting it. And so it went on more rounds of revision, but like this idea was still just kind of rolling around in the back of my head, just kind of percolating this. Like, there's got to be a way that it would work. There just has to be like a different layer. I can't just tell the story again. The words have to be doing something that the pictures aren't already doing, and since I hadn't been thinking of the story in those terms, I couldn't think of it. For timing, we got the revise and resubmit in December. Then one night in July, months later, I had insomnia, or I don't know, or maybe I woke up at like 2 or 3 in the morning. Anyway, it was like 2 or 3 in the morning, and then it hit me like, this is the way that it can work, is instead of having the words be about the pictures, which the pictures don't need words to be about them, they're doing their own job, I can use the words to direct attention to the sounds, because that is what the story is about. So I got up at like 2, 3 in the morning, and after the multiple attempts at making this revision before, I actually already had a printed copy next to my bed that had like a failed attempt on it already. And so I was able to just grab it and jot it down. And you can see here, with the new idea, the first word is listen. And it looks like I only really got words jotted down for about the first half of the book, just to kind of see that it was working. You can see there's words on here, but after a couple pages, I wasn't writing them down. I guess I just needed to prove to myself that it's like, hey, this could work, and I've got the idea recorded, so I'm not going to lose it. Woke up in the morning, finished the draft, typed it all up, made minimal edits, and just sent it off to my agent like, hey, this is an idea. This was really quick and rough, so like I'm open to editing it, but like, what do you think of this version of addressing that, revise and resubmit? She made just like a couple of grammar and punctuation suggestions, but she said that she loved it as is, and she sent it off to them. And after another round of revise and resubmit, they made an offer and the book is published. What I think is interesting about this story is there's one version I could tell of, I woke up at 2 a.m, jotted something down, sent it off to my agent the next day, and it was good. Like that short time period, that there's some accuracy to that, but literally this is a problem that I have been trying to solve for months. And I really think that the months of sitting on it and having the failed attempts that didn't work were necessary, that I couldn't have figured out that way of solving this problem without thinking about it in the back of my brain for a long, long time. And that's the real creative process is, yes, sometimes there's these bolts of inspiration, but they come on a foundation of showing up and kind of failing and doing things that don't work. After all of those unsatisfactory attempts, then you have the inspiration and you find what does work. I don't always keep all my drafts, but I think I need to keep this one because there's a story behind it.